You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrill, and as always, I'm joined by our co-host, Mr. Dakota Davis.
Hey, what's up, Jeremiah?
I'm back in the saddle.
You're back in the saddle again.
I don't want to violate any copyrights, but that was a great job. Great job. This is the Boss Hog of Liberty. Our shows are about our lives in rural Indiana. Or I guess we're in the city. It's not necessarily rural, man. Semi-rural.
City boys.
This is a show about the folks who are involved in politics. We promise that our episodes are going to be a fun and easy listen. We interview people that are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks we just find interesting. Today, it's not really political at all, except the fact that all of life is somewhat political, so we'll throw it in there. On my right, I have Mr. Lee Marcum, camera left, of Jack's Donuts. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Glad you're here to hang out with us.
I do what I can. I'm trying to represent House Stark well today. I just noticed your Game of Thrones.
Yeah, winter is coming, you know.
It is coming. And like in my heart, I'm a Stark. But in real life, I want to be a Lannister.
Right,
like
They're just so cool.
They just have it easy. Why would you not want to be a Lannister? I don't understand that at all.
Their colors are cooler. They have cool armor.
Their weather is so much better.
Nice.
It's always nice. And the army of the undead, they're going to get them last.
Exactly.
So they have more time than anybody to get away.
Down.
Jared, which one do you want to be?
I have literally no idea. I have not a clue.
Have we tuned out half of the people who watch?
I don't know. The Parks and Rec poster is over my shoulder, and I can go Ron Swanson all day long. But Game of Thrones, I think I've watched there's a scene where there's a completely naked woman walking across, being shamed. I think that's the only part of Game of Thrones I've ever seen.
Shame.
Yeah, the only one you remember.
That's all. Yeah, that's
Cersei.
Cersei Lannister.
So, but Game of Thrones is one of those shows that if I were single, I would never, ever, ever watch. My wife loves it. She loves it.
Man.
So since now I love it now that I've watched. I mean, I've watched every episode with her, so I'm into it now. I was kind of like, I'll take one for the team and watch this, and then it gets more interesting. But then the Battle of the Bastards, that was like, okay, that's was the best hour of television or just
in
film screen in general.
Yep,
so
it totally is.
That show has torn my heart out so many times.
Over and over again.
I just keep thinking Robb Stark's going to come back from the dead. There just has to be a way. You're going to say Jon? Come on.
Oh, man.
Bob's way better.
Spoiler alert.
So Chris Guffey is in the live chat. You guys are listening to the podcast. You can always watch our show live on Facebook Live, and then you can catch the replays later on podcast form. Chris Guffey's in the chat, and he says you can have kids with your sister as well in that house, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess.
That's true. That maybe not so much. The incest, I'm not as big of a fan.
Not a fan of that one.
It's so weird.
It's more of the money and weather. That's really what it is.
So
it's like San Diego.
Yeah, there you go.
I started reading those books whenever I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I can remember geeking out whenever the TV show was announced.
Sure.
And you didn't watch it for a long time.
No.
I started watching the TV show, and then we'd have long discussions about the book and the TV show.
Yeah, because I didn't have cable.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't really watch the TV show until it got uploaded to Vudu or whatever.
Sure.
And
now you're a grown man and you have your own cable.
I still don't have cable, even as a grown man. Yeah.
You don't have
internet,
access to an HBO Go account?
I'm sure I do somewhere.
All right.
We might have to talk about that later.
I spend way too much for satellite. I mean, it's way too much, but I don't care. It's worth it.
I've converted myself over to the YouTube TV. I'm fully unplugged from everything other than Metronet and digital subscriptions.
Have you watched the Cobra Kai show?
No.
The Karate Kid series with William Zabka and Ralph Macchio were in it together?
No, sir.
I watched the first episode, and I haven't been able to watch it since because I haven't had the time and made it the priority that it deserves. So, and that's one of those ones. My wife stays home, so my biggest problem is I have no free time. Like when the kids are in school, she can watch the shows that she likes, and then I got to watch. And then we have the ones that we both we'll watch this together, and we watch our shows together. But I don't have that time anymore to watch just shows I want to watch. And it's hard.
That's how it is when you get married, Jared.
First world problems right there.
I'm about 20 days into marriage, so I still don't know what life is like.
Oh, you have, as you can see, I'm going to knock your phone down because I'm going to get some more Jameson because I need it. So
go for it.
I try to watch shows with my girlfriend, and we'll start them, and we'll get like 2 episodes in, and she'll go home, and she'll watch the whole season. She doesn't even wait for me.
Now, see, my wife doesn't do that. We're both, I don't know, we're both pretty good about not cheating on watching shows, but the one that I think that I watch that I like that is probably more, let's just say for lack of a better word, girly, is Glow on Netflix.
I love Glow.
Glow is, and my wife is
so good.
And my wife is just kind of like so on it, but I love it. I think it's a great
it is
show.
So good. I've seen every season.
It's so entertaining. We're
so funny.
We're binging season 2 right now, and I love it. It's such a great show.
The Wolf Women is my favorite.
Oh yeah,
all
of them. They're all amazing.
Have any of you guys watched Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia?
I've never even heard of that.
No,
it's on Viceland, and it's this dude who's a psychonaut. So he basically he studies psychoactive drugs, and he goes to the ends of the earth and tries actually takes all of these weird psychoactives. It's an intense show.
It sounds like a lot. Like we were talking about ladies professional wrestling, and then you just went really deep on us.
Yeah, you guys are talking about a show that was out there, and I had to
and that is out there. Yeah, I get that.
Like 3 up that time.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a documentary about the real Glow, and I'm tempted to watch it.
Oh, I've actually YouTubed the real Glow as well, and the series is significantly better. But it's just it's Netflix, so it's good.
Yeah.
Usually Netflix is.
When we were flying down to the honeymoon, I finally watched the John McAfee special on Netflix, Gringo, or whatever, which was the story of him. He's the guy that started McAfee antivirus and he ran for president.
I know that story. I've seen it on like Dateline and things like that, but I haven't watched that yet.
It's like an hour and a half on Netflix, and he's he went to Brazil, not Brazil, Belize. Yeah, because we were going to Belize on the honeymoon, so I was like, that's the perfect time to watch this.
Sure.
And talks about how he has these questionable relationships, and his neighbor gets killed over a dog getting poisoned, and it was a whole thing. So that was out there. It was fun.
Just this whole thing about dogs.
It was this whole thing. He may accidentally be my presidential candidate in 2 years, so I got to keep my powder dry.
When I travel for work, when I fly for work, that is the time I can watch whatever I want.
Yeah, you save them to the iPad and you can go.
Yeah, but the problem is that I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch this. But then I think, but you know what? I haven't seen Point Break in a few years.
Yeah.
So I probably ought to watch that.
Oh, dude, I'm the same way. I have some TV shows that I want to watch myself, and then I'm like, I haven't seen
Tommy
the
Boy.
Boondock Saints.
And that's a great movie.
That's the best movie ever made. Yeah.
It's the second best movie ever made.
What's the first?
True Romance.
I don't think I've seen
Have you ever heard of True Romance? Oh, it's the best. If you like Boondock Saints, you will love True Romance.
All right,
Slater,
I'll check it
Patricia
out.
Arquette, James Gandolfini, Christopher Walken, Brad Pitt. There's Dustin Hoffman, or not Dustin Hoffman. Not Dustin Hoffman.
I don't think he knows who Dustin Hoffman is.
Yeah, I don't know who Dustin Hoffman is.
It's not Dustin Hoffman is anyway. It's what is his name? I cannot think. My mind. The bad guy in the movie Speed.
Oh, yeah.
Is
it Hannibal Lecter?
I know the movie Speed.
What is his name?
Hannibal Lecter.
No, same actor.
It's not Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
it's not Anthony Hopkins. What is? Man, I like. If anybody's watching this, I'm losing a lot of respect.
It's very sad.
In a lot of people's eyes. So, like, if any of my friends are like, "Oh, Lee," they're screaming it at their computers, and they should, because I'm going to look it up right now. I saw you getting your phone. Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper.
Okay.
It's Shooter from Hoosiers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the most obvious one. Yes.
Come on, Lee. You're going to take back your Henry County residency card.
Yeah, I really do. I'm going to have to earn it back after
That's
not
all
knowing that reference.
We'll reset. I've already failed as a host and didn't introduce Chase Payton over on the sports desk.
Thanks, man.
We've determined that you're wearing the Chris Long Bears jersey.
I am. Kyle Long,
yeah.
the better brother. And he's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure one day after we win 2 or 3
More Super Bowls.
Yes.
Which did he play for the Rams before? Is that Kyle or the Raider?
That was Chris. I do like Chris though. He's very funny.
Yeah.
No, Kyle's been a Bear, I think, his whole career.
And the other one played for the Raiders and Eagles and Rams.
Eagles.
Yeah, he won the Super Bowl with them.
Yeah, he won the Super Bowl for the
last
Patriots
2 years,
and then for the Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So,
and
is that better?
And then
Yeah,
his dad, his dad won some Super Bowls too.
Yeah, a Raider.
Long did, yeah.
That dude on Fox.
Yep.
Jared, I'm a happy man. I am a happy man. We got some donuts in the house.
So
you can eat them.
I'm going to be eating. You're going to hear me munching on some donuts.
Lee knows how things are supposed to go on the show, and guests bring gifts. And Darren Jacobs brought us the Bartlett for America poster. We got the framed artwork from City Councilman Aaron Dickin, and today we have the Jack's Donuts box. We actually have multiple boxes. We couldn't fill them in the entire table here, but
he brought a bag.
We also determined that, or learned that you can take some of the Jack's homemade coffee and put a little splash of Jameson in there in the afternoon.
That's what they say.
It turns out all right.
It's 7:30. It's 7:30. I'm an adult. I'm having. I'm okay.
It's like prime time now.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not just because I like a little bit of Jameson in my coffee. I like to Irish it up. Doesn't mean that you have to. It's to each their own. But the fact of the matter is, if you're gonna Irish up your coffee, let it be Jack's Donuts coffee.
There you go.
Because that's like the new. I mean, everybody knows us for our donuts, and as we grow, the coffee is becoming a bigger part of it. So that's what we're doing. Is we're really trying to up our game with the coffee.
We're gonna have to get you guys a little liquor license in the mornings for the carryout.
Oh, there you go. We can have mimosas to go.
Yeah,
that's probably illegal, but the thought was there.
All you have to do, you just prepare it, and then if it leaves, then whatever. That's there. That's on them.
I put it in a styrofoam cup. A styrofoam cup. That's a lot to say.
Yeah,
so I put it in a styrofoam cup and set it there. That time, good. And it's up to, if you leave with it, that's not my fault.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's not really my problem. I am a brunch connoisseur. Like, I love donuts. I love donuts, but there is nothing better than just a great breakfast in general or brunch, because brunch to me involves alcohol. So that's kind of
an eggs Benedict with something
like
to drink.
Like I like donuts.
So
eat donuts.
You
should always
that's
eat
the
donuts.
base. That's the start.
That's the start. But like, my birthday's in a couple weeks, and my wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I said I want a breakfast burrito, and she was like, "Okay, anything else?" I was like, "No, I just want you to make me an awesome breakfast burrito," and I mean that.
2 breakfast burritos.
Well, if she does it right, we'll only need 1. So
burritos as big as your head.
Yes,
a little bomba thing going on.
All right, so Katie Larson is watching in the live stream, and I have got a story.
Okay.
I had a dream, a premonition, if you will.
I don't know if I like where this is going.
The other night. And so it started out, and it was super realistic. I've been having these super realistic dreams lately, and I've never been able to remember my dream.
Are you a prophet
Nothing,
now?
Man. I think I might. I might be blessed. We don't know. I'm just looking at you. It makes it all this much better.
Okay.
But anyway, so we're at a wedding. The setting is very much like Jeremiah's wedding, and it's an outdoor wedding.
Henry County chic.
It's surrounded by woods, okay? And me, you, Audrey, Katie, Jeremiah, and Sarah are all walking in these woods, okay? And as we're walking, you guys are down by a creek, you and Katie, and all of a sudden you guys come running back up to us, and you're like, "Guys, we found wedding rings down by this creek."
Oh,
we found them in a box. And we're all like, "Holy crap, it's a sign. Like, you have to get married." And so then you got down on one knee, you proposed right there. Okay. Obviously
at somebody else's wedding?
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly.
What a move.
But
that's how to do it.
We had snuck off into the woods, so it didn't really matter. And so Katie is all excited, and she slips on the engagement ring. And then you did that thing that some guys do, and you put on your wedding band as kind of like an engagement ring.
Okay, it's a little gay, but
immediately
it's a dream.
Immediately in the dream, you guys both get very ill.
Oh,
yeah, you start getting sick.
Maybe it's not a sign.
Yeah, and you guys both end up getting.
Are they magic rings?
Well, I'll continue.
Okay.
You guys both get so ill that you have to be rushed to the hospital. and you're in the hospital for a week and you are just not feeling any better whatsoever. You're getting worse, in fact. And they call in a priest because you guys have gotten so bad. And I've been visiting you in the hospital all these days.
As a good friend.
Uh-huh. And the priest walks in, and it's Audrey and I's pastor, who is a Quaker minister, not a priest, but he's...
This is the defense attorney?
Yeah, Mr.
Brock.
Mr. David Brock. He's not a Catholic priest, but he still had on the collar thing, so...
Your dream.
He goes out there, he says a prayer for you, and he, like, splashes holy water on you guys. And then I follow him out into...
Because the Quakers use holy water.
I follow him out into the chapel of the hospital, and... Like, it's so realistic that it's the chapel that I helped build in Ball Memorial Hospital. And I go in there with him, and all of a sudden his eyes go black like the demons in Supernatural.
Oh, snap.
And he's like, talks in this growly voice, and he's like, those rings weren't made for them. And then he takes a giant dagger out of his priest robes, and he stabs himself in the chest, and then, like, he disappears in a plume of smoke and bats. Insane. So I was like, oh my God. Like, that's why they're dying, is they had the rings on. So then I start running back to your room. And as I'm running, I trip in the hallway, I fall, and I get knocked out. And then, as I'm passed out, I get a vision.
Okay.
Of an angel talking to me. And
Which angel?
I don't know which angel it was, but this angel is talking to me, and it says, you can't stop them.
I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
No clue.
You can't stop them.
Okay.
The fate of the world rests on the shoulders of their offspring.
Nice.
Yeah. So then I didn't tell you guys, and then there was a whole cosmic holy war that was going to happen, and then I woke up.
Congrats on the sex, chasing the dream.
It was insane. Like, so we've joked a lot about how you and Katie need to get married, but now you have to get married. I'm convinced.
I'll take it into consideration.
This show has hardly existed without a co-host being engaged. From the very beginning of it until November of last year, we had a co-host engaged. I fixed that 2 weeks later by asking Sarah to marry me, and we are 2 weeks in.
Well, I'm waiting on Danny.
TikTok.
Yeah, that's
or
a good point.
One of you guys need to get divorced.
Danny's already gotten divorced.
Let's see. He's done half the job.
He's already
4
of the 5 co-hosts have been married now. You're the one hanging out. So anyway,
all right.
Well,
That was the tale of my dream. I had to get that
It's
out
a cool
there for
dream.
you.
The
It was
demon threw
insane.
me off. I didn't know where it was going.
I'm terrified over here. I have no idea.
I had another dream that I was driving my bucket truck for work.
How much pot
and this
have
was
you been smoking?
This was the same night, too, okay? So I'm driving my bucket truck for work, and I have a holder for my cell phone. I'm listening to the Joe Rogan Experience. And on the podcast, Joe Rogan says, and I heard this piece of news from the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast in a little place called Newcastle, Indiana. And I thought, whoa, that's weird. And then I got a text from Joe Rogan, and he told me that someone poisoned his Coke. So I was like, what?
There's a lot of death involved in your...
Very dark.
So
Is it cola or cane?
Cocaine. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I wake up, and in my disoriented fugue-like state, I'm so confused that I actually reach for my phone. I'm like,
did Joe Rogan really text me, and do I have his number?
No, I was like, oh God, someone poisoned Joe Rogan.
Cocaine. The cane.
Yeah,
not
the
cola.
cocaine.
Not the cola.
Oh my! All right. So, anything else happened while I was gone? I was out of the country for a week. You guys.
How were you out of the country? But we recorded a podcast.
That was a lie.
Week.
I feel like I should confess that. If you couldn't figure it out, episode 69, we were guessing the future.
Yep,
So,
we were. That was a good episode.
It was. It was a lot of fun with Mark Brim.
All right.
So yeah, you guys did a tinfoil time, the special bonus for the Patreon people.
That is correct.
They did Stephen Avery, who's the guy making of a murderer on the Netflix.
Yep.
And
That
then
was a good one, too.
I was on the cruise ship, and I'm too cheap to actually pay for data on the cruise ship. You've done one of those, Lee, where it's like, they want like $30 for 10 minutes of internet. It's unbelievable.
The last time I was on a cruise ship, cell phones were like a new thing.
Oh yeah.
So it's been a while. It's been a good probably 18 years.
Yeah. So you are disconnected from the world.
Yeah.
You're supposed to not have any Wi-Fi, but we were connected so that we could get to the ship account and make reservations and stuff. So my Wi-Fi was connected, and I've been all these group texts running this show and running the We're Libertarians Network and some other stuff. Inexplicably, I'm getting. It's like you're getting a conversation that you can't answer, and you're just like you're in a vacuum where you can't say anything, but you can see other people talking, and you get like 20% of what they say. I figure out that Dakota is rebranding our show while I'm gone.
Yep.
He's redoing the logo, and I can't say a damn thing about it.
Yeah, that's always a fun feeling.
He told me he was going to wait until you were gone.
Yeah. So
That was a total surprise to me too.
I'm
I
a
just
fly on
started
the
getting
wall.
emails.
And I can't. All I can see is text. I can't see any images at all. I have literally no idea until I get to a port that has some Wi-Fi or whatever to see what they've done. So you took it upon yourself, and you redesigned the Boss Hog Liberty logo, and then you let the Patreon people, without asking your co-host, partners 50-50, man. I own half. Sarah owns a quarter by half
I did
now.
ask you about that, and you liked it. We picked out our favorite before I put it in the poll.
I don't remember. I was
True.
there were free. There was
we
free
had to
liquor
get
for
rid
a
of
week.
fat-
I don't know.
We had
the
to get rid of.
specifics.
We had to get rid of Fat Jer. Okay.
I wasn't in the logo. I'm not like Jerry
One
West.
Boss Hog Liberty logo. You're in that one.
He's in the cover page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right, well,
yeah, we have to reprint shirts. That we got so many new expenses. So anyway,
That's right.
that was a bonus for the Patreon people, though. If they kick in, they join Patreon. That's they get to make decisions that I'm not even allowed to make.
That's true. I gave you a lot of power last week, the dear Patreon subscriber, and I hope that it paid off.
People have been very excited. I'm happy about it. Cool new logo for people to check out. All right, we've done enough dancing around here. We got to talk to Lee a little bit about the business and what he does, the day job. Everybody's wearing a sports thing today. You've got the Bears. I got my MS thing. Lee's got his Pacers deal on.
I'm gonna get a donut real quick.
You should do that. Donuts do make everything better. I'll take one. Yeah. The white tail.
The white tail.
Chase is just blocking the camera.
Lee is the one guy that actually knows what all of these are called. I go in and it's just a panic.
Yeah.
The official name.
The official names of all of them, and I want
jelly
to.
pill. I don't know. Man.
I don't know.
There's a
whole other box downstairs.
Maybe
that has jelly in it.
I-
It's a roll with jelly in it.
Yeah, give me that.
I'm a traveling salesman. It's my day job. I sell steel, and I run all over Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Michigan. So I will go in, and I'll buy a box or two of these, and then I'll make my sales trip, and I'll go visit places. So
Appreciate that. Thanks.
for the longest time, it was like I had these rare things, these Jack's Donuts that nobody knew, and you guys were like a Newcastle thing. You were our little secret. No, I'm good. I can't, man. I'm like when Lee invents the keto donut, I'm on board.
Oh, you're doing the keto.
Yeah, it's a South Beach thing. Yeah, I'm down like 60 pounds, which is great. And
Great,
literally,
good for
people
you.
are like, "What do you miss?" Jack's Donuts.
you
That's
go.
not me stroking you. That's literally the answer I give everybody.
Fair enough.
It's a sad life, but it's whatever.
I don't care if you were stroking me.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, it's straight up.
Can you zoom in on my face? Yeah, I will.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
gonna be
All right.
there's gonna be
Is it on there?
it's stuck on you from now on because he's got glaze on the iPad screen and he can't move it again.
10 out of 10.
So for the longest time, I'd bring these things to people, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, what the hell are these? These are amazing." Mm-hmm. Now you've gone out and you're sponsoring the Pacers, and you're on Wish TV, Channel 8, and you're in 2 or 3 states. You've ruined my little niche.
Well,
Thanks.
And it's it's one of those things where we had and you're welcome. We have a great product. We've had a great product forever. My grandfather started in '61. My dad bought it in '77, and I bought it in 2007. Was forced to work there all my life. I hated every second of it when I was a teenager. Hated it. But ended up falling back in love with the business and realized, in the late 2000s that I thought we had a special product. And I used to hear stories like yours all the time, how people would take it to wherever. They always had to take Jack's Donuts no matter where they were. I thought, well, maybe we might be onto something. So started selling franchises. And I remember in 2013, Fisher's was our very first franchise. And being over in Fisher's.
So you're just 4 years into franchising, 3 or 4 years into franchising now.
Yeah, that's all. We have 17 stores now, and 18 next month in Connorsville. So I remember Fisher's opening up in 2013 February. I remember sitting in the dining room about a half hour before it opened in the dark, because this is 4:30 in the morning, and just being absolutely terrified, thinking, all right, these people invested money in me. I hope they don't lose everything that they had. And about 5 minutes later, one person showed up, and then 2 more people showed up after that. And there was a line. Well, we ended up selling out at 11 a.m. It exceeded our expectations just beyond belief. And that's kind of been the story of Jack's Donuts. It's been a struggle. It's been hard, but we've always persevered. But I don't think our struggle is, or what's hard about what we do is any different than what anybody else does. It's just part of running a company and growing a company. You have, for lack of a better word, you have to have balls to do what we do. And you have to not be afraid to take risks. It's Dave Nance works with me on the Jack's Donuts corporate end, and I was telling him, sometimes it's exhausting to take a leap of faith about every other month. But that's what you have to do when you're growing a company. You have to take
You're playing poker constantly, just chips in.
You are, and you have to take risks that I really honestly believe that some people, to each their own. Some people will never have to make the kind of decisions that I feel like I have to make every 6 weeks. And it's hard, and sometimes it wears you out, but it's okay. That's why I put Jameson in my coffee.
So it gets through to the next morning.
You bought the business, took over in 2007,
correct?
Right, and obviously you totally changed the Jack's Donuts game, probably the whole entire donut game, really.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, it wasn't one of those things where I knew we had a great product, we just did not have a great business plan. The business plan that we had worked in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it was just gone. And as you guys know, technology has changed everything.
Right.
The way people see things, it's just totally, you have to be willing to roll with the changes because if not, you're going to get ran over.
I remember Dakota gave me a beer to sample and it's gone.
No, I told you could try some.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Please continue.
All right.
It's the milkshake beer.
I just, whenever you took over, was that your vision from the beginning? Like, we have to branch out, we have to start franchising?
No. My vision when I bought it was my wife, who was a kindergarten teacher at the time, she'll teach. I will make donuts every night or 5-6 days a week, and we'll do that, and we'll just kind of start from there, and that'll be our lives.
It was going to be a job.
It was going to be a job. And after about 2 or 3 years, I got really bored with it and just thought, maybe we might have something, and really found my love of just being an entrepreneur, growing it, sticking my neck out there, not being afraid to get out of my comfort zone.
Right.
You guys do some stuff. If I remember right, we talked earlier. You did the Rob Kendall show, and I remember listening to that podcast. And you guys do some unique things with your frosting and other deals with that you were surprised that other donut vendors don't do. Right.
Yeah.
There's some things that are specialized. Not getting into trade secrets, but there's stuff that you do that makes Jack's Donuts very special than their generic one.
As we started growing, that was one of the things that I realized that the skills that my dad taught me growing up were a specialized skill that I didn't realize that a lot of people didn't have. And that's when I knew we were really, really onto something. That's kind of what got things going in regards to the franchising, where I thought, okay, now I know we have something, and let's run with it. Let's roll.
Yeah. And so it's Jack Marcum was your grandfather.
Jack Marcum the first was my grandfather. He passed away in 1981. My dad, Jack the second, owned it from 1977 to 2007. He works for me now. And then I'm Jack the third. I just go by Lee.
Okay. So have
Jack the third.
Have you identified a child to name Jack?
I have 3 sons. I'm not cursing. I'm not cursing now. They all have. There are no. We don't. There won't be a Jack the fourth. So.
You're just going to make them assume the name. One of them will take the mantle up, and it'll be like becoming the Pope. You just have to. At that point, you become Jack the fourth.
Yeah, we'll legally change your name like Greg Kreider did to Bash, right?
Yes, exactly. Bash was in that chair about a month ago.
I know. I saw him. Yeah. So I was watching that earlier today. But yeah, that's one of those things I really didn't have an input in. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have kids, but as the dad, you have no input on the name. You just really don't.
So far, we're 0-3, but if Dakota has one in the next 7 years, I'm up $50.
There you go.
We're keeping track. We got a little calendar. I feel very good about my chances.
Yeah, his chances are pretty good. You say things before you're married that you just don't really actually know. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like anything, though.
So much.
But that's anything, though. That's work. I mean, if you'd told me that 20 years ago that there'd be 17 Jack's Donuts locations and 2 different states, and we're going to announce a new state in about the next 2 weeks.
Ooh,
nice. So stay tuned for that. And it's a big state. That's all I'll say.
Well, Utah's, big.
Yeah.
Texas is pretty big.
Texas is big. There's a lot of big states.
Alaska's pretty
Alaska's
huge,
a big
man.
state.
Hawaii's not very big.
Oh, it's not Hawaii. I can tell you that. I really wish it was, but it's not Hawaii. And
someday.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. We want Jack's Donuts all over the world.
I want Jack's Donuts all over the world.
I appreciate that.
That way, anytime I vacation, I'm like, heck yeah, never away from my donuts.
That is kind of the odd thing about growing it, is that I can remember just a couple of years ago being over in Indianapolis and driving around Indy, driving around 465 and wanting a coffee and thinking, okay, where can I stop to get a coffee? Because I'm in my Jack's Donuts gear from head to toe. I can't go into Starbucks and get a coffee. So, and I can't go into Starbucks. I can't go into a gas station and get a cup of coffee with my Jack's Donuts t-shirt and hat. So I would have to I remember having to just kind of plan ahead. Now there's one almost everywhere we go over.
Yeah, you can always get one.
Yeah. It's surprising. I can remember whenever you guys first announced that you were going to open up a new location in Fishers. I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, and everybody was freaking out, right? Everybody in Newcastle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was like, what? No.
Well, and that's kind of what, like we were talking before the show, I moved back to Newcastle about a year ago. And one of the reasons I did move back is because all of our stores that we open, we really, really preach about being a part of the community. Don't just have your store there. Become part of the community. Be somebody that people know. Luckily, Jack's has been around forever, that when I go in everywhere, everybody knows me as the donut guy. But I didn't live here. I lived in Cowan. And I lived in Cowan because at the time, that's what was best for my family. My wife was teaching in Muncie. I was working here. So that was a sacrifice we made. And when the business got busy enough, we moved, we thought, let's go back to Newcastle. Let's make a difference. And that's what the Jack's philosophy has always been, kind of to just make things better. When you leave things, make sure they're better than what they were before.
And you've continued to make improvements. The Newcastle store hasn't been ignored.
No.
You go in there, the pavement's brand new.
No.
You've got the coffee bar.
Well, and
it's not been left behind at all.
No, and we're actually getting ready to do some big changes actually that start next week on our store. We're getting a new roof. We're painting the whole place on the outside. You're not
painting that stonework.
No, that's the OG.
You have the same stone on the outside there that I have on my house. It's like a second home for me.
So
man.
No, we can't do that. We'll always have to leave some of that up. But that's really what it's about. That's why I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys, because you guys are here in Newcastle. I'm very fortunate enough to go over to Indianapolis and I get to meet some really, really great people. But I also want to talk to the great people that live in my hometown, because even though I am the CEO of Jack's Donuts and I am the face of the company, I'm also the owner of Jack's Donuts of Newcastle. So anytime I can come and talk about how much Newcastle means to me and how much this store means to me, I'm always going to do it.
Boss Hog of Liberty fan Kelsey Meyer says that you better be bringing a Oreo-topped donut to Newcastle.
Is there one somewhere else? Is it?
It's so funny. That's a great question. That's a great question. It's so funny because over in Fishers and over in Carmel and over in Greenwood, there are these fancy donuts, and they're not really, there's nothing really fancy about them. They just have different toppings on them than some of our donuts.
They take a cookie and crush it.
Yeah, and we do that here in Newcastle, and people are just so used to the donuts that they have here. We'll make that stuff from time to time on the weekends, so if you ever do want it, stop in on the weekend. Sometimes we have those, and if you call ahead, we might actually make one for you. If you call a couple days ahead and say, "Hey, can you make me an Oreo top donut?" We might do it for you here in Newcastle. So we will. But that's
you have to be here by 5:30 in the morning. I'm selling it. Okay, it might go old.
But the fancy stuff, like with cookies and Oreos and things like that, and chocolate chips, that stuff doesn't sell here in Newcastle. People like what they like here because of the history we have here.
They want their twist.
They do. It's like, hey, we made this donut you're asking about. That looks awesome. You want one? No, I'd rather have a caramel nut. Thanks, though.
Caramel nut is my favorite.
See, there you go.
It is my favorite.
And that's okay. So my thought is just, let's not force people to like something that they're not going to like. They like the classics, so let's do that.
Here's the thing that's going to complicate your life right now. You're doing a live TV show in your hometown, so people are asking you high school questions.
Oh,
Travis Ham wants to know about your pet goat in high school. I don't know what that means. Is
Jimmy,
that code?
Jimmy. I had a goat in high school. My dad did. His name was Jimmy the goat. So we took him around Baker Park to try and pick up girls. Had a leash and everything.
That is a damn good name for a goat.
Jimmy the goat.
I love that.
So we took the goat around the park.
All right, Travis, we did the right thing for you and asked your question. Now you need to jump on that Patreon page and help us out.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
We're supposed to only be answering questions of Patreon supporters. But
We got we're moving into a studio in a month, and we got bills to pay,
so
man.
gotta move it up.
We got our landlord, Mr. Mike Broyles. He got to have a check once a month. We got stuff. We got stuff to cover. Patreon.
So
people.
everywhere that you've moved you mentioned that Fisher's the welcoming was huge and you sold out. Has it been like that everywhere, or has it been kind of hit and miss?
It's about 75. Probably 80% of the stores that we've opened, there's just been a ridiculous opening. And the other ones, we've never had a bad opening.
You always go to the openings. You're heavily involved with the franchisees when they start, I assume.
I do. And we still communicate with all of them.
Teaching them how to make donuts.
We do. I used to do it all. Like, I don't make the donuts for the store openings anymore. I have a team who does that now. Back when we first started, I was the guy who was doing it. Like, I can remember working 16 straight hours in Fisher's, helping them make all their donuts, and then leaving that store and then driving to Newcastle and making donuts for people in Newcastle.
Wow. So you didn't get any flack for treading on Concannon's territory in Muncie? There weren't Concannon's protesters outside the store.
Muncie
God hates Jax.
Yeah, Muncie was a huge opening, and I remember thinking about the Concannon's factor. It is what it is. Muncie's a big town. There's enough room for donut shops. We had a qualified franchisee who was interested, so let's do it.
I'm picturing like Anchorman, where you've got like News Team 4 versus
News Team Assemble.
Yeah, I'm picturing you guys with tridents down.
There's a lot of times where people have asked me that if what that's like. It is what it is. I always feel like that the people who are looking at what everybody else is doing instead of just what they've got going on, those are usually the people who aren't very far in life. It's best to just kind of focus on what you're doing, and if you take care of your own house, everything else is going to work out fine.
Just because you sold a donut to somebody doesn't mean they're not going to buy a donut from the next guy down the road too, right?
And
it's an ever expanding pie.
Yeah, I'm not. Exactly. And I'm not going to badmouth any competitor or anything like that because all they're trying to do is the same thing that every Jack's Donuts franchisee is doing is just trying to make a better life for themselves and everybody else around them. And that's all it is.
Co-host Danny Morrell's in the chat demanding, since he has co-host status, he wants to know if you've ever tried Tim Hortons coffee.
You know what's funny? I hate saying this, okay, because I just said I wasn't going to badmouth a competitor, all right?
They're Canadian. It doesn't count.
But Tim Hortons is a big enough chain.
Tim Hortons.
big Tim Hortons is a big chain. Their donuts are fine. I've been in many Tim Hortons. They're okay. But I actually buy every coffee that is sitting on the shelves of Kroger or Marsh or your local Fresh Time over in Indianapolis. I have tried almost every single one of those coffees because I love coffee. I'm a coffee
connoisseur.
I am a coffee connoisseur.
Nice.
And I will tell you, Tim Hortons, I was disappointed. It was probably one of my least favorites. Now maybe it was the roast. Maybe they have different kinds of roast, but Tim Hortons, for whatever reason, I just didn't dig their coffee.
Jack's Donuts is a lot better.
Did you try a little dollop of Jameson in it?
Well, I did, and that didn't help.
No, either.
He had to use the whole bottle.
I did not. But like I said, though, that's personal preference. People from different areas and different regions like different things.
That's
like
what you're used to.
Yeah, when you go out to California, they have all of their beans. They're blondes, and people in the Midwest don't drink blondes.
No.
So
Some people in Midwest like blondes.
But yeah, there you go. But no, it's that's one of the things that's it just kind of depends on region. Tim Hortons, but that's me though. I don't like that particular kind of coffee, but they have a good product overall though, and they have a great brand. They're those brands. See, for me to be as an aggressive brand that we're trying to grow here in Indiana, we're just Indiana and Utah and another state soon. It's absolutely ridiculous for us to go and say that, Tim Hortons doesn't do this good or Dunkin' Donuts doesn't do that good, because ultimately those guys have really set the bar high. And without having people like that around, you just it's almost hard to imagine that you could be that one day. But the fact that you have those guys to look up to, it's inspiring. I mean, it really, really is. I love competition. I mean, I love competition. I have to be in it. I'm not the guy when I'm playing cards with my family. If I'm not into it, I could really care less if I lose. But when it comes to donuts, I don't want to lose with donuts. I don't want to lose with donuts. That can't happen.
I don't think you're really threatened around here anyway.
No,
from what I've tried.
And that's the great thing about Newcastle. It's very safe. It's very safe. But But that's why I'm over in Indianapolis 2 or 3 days a week, because I like to be shocked. I like to be poked and prodded a little bit. But that's, as I was saying, that's a leap of faith that you have to take. You never know what it's going to be. It comes in all different.
Somebody called Kenny Loggins. You're in the danger zone.
So late last summer, you guys took a hell of a leap of faith, and you started a relationship with the Indiana Pacers. What's that been like?
I cannot say enough great things about that organization. I really can't. It's not like Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo and I text each other. That doesn't happen. I really thought that was going to happen. Like, I thought they were going to call me and discuss any roster moves, but apparently they're not. So,
do you have Larry Bird's number?
Obviously, yeah. He's texted me twice.
Yeah.
He's under.
I'm sure he's watching.
That's not Travis Ham.
Oh, that's Larry.
That's Larry Bird.
That's Larry Legend.
Yeah, he hacked Travis from Nigeria. So, but the Pacers partnership has been wonderful because, as I was telling you guys earlier, what we knew we wanted to do was to take our brand to the next levels, to kind of go more national, so that we were going to have to partner with somebody who was legitimate around here. And the Pacers were, and that was, like you were saying, that was a huge leap of faith. That was one of those ones I remember signing it and thinking, I don't know how we're going to pay for this, but we have it. We have our plan that's going to work out the way it is, and that's what you have to do. And here it is. We the first year went fantastic. Nothing but great things to say. The team played phenomenal, which makes us look better. But from somebody from a different state that's thinking about a franchise to look into, the fact that they see that Pacers logo on the side.
I was going to say, they're watching a Pacer game on ESPN or TNT, and you guys are on the scroll. You're on the ticker, so they're watching the game, and they see that Jack's Donuts logo looking at them with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, you're as legitimate as you can get.
That's
at that point.
exactly right. And the fact that we have that Pacers P on the box, and that when you go to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, there's that giant mural, automatically we have legitimacy. We're with the big boys now. We may be at the kids' table still, but we're in the room now.
Right, you're there. I mean, you're on national TV with ABC and Connor Daly and Indy 500.
Yeah,
they zoom in on Connor Daly trying to qualify his car, and you see the focus in his face, and you see the Jack's Donuts logo on his helmet.
The Boss Hog Liberty is also a national thing.
It's getting there. Exactly.
I do want to say those donuts are the reason I'm still fat.
All right.
Okay, I've tried to diet my whole life, and I'll make it like a weekend to it, and I have to eat one.
I get it. No, I understand. People always ask me if I'm sick of them. No, and that's not being a salesman. That's the truth. I've never gotten sick of a donut. I've never gotten up and thought, maybe if I had like two before when I was in my early 20s and I drank a lot, and because I had no money. So, I've got a donut shop.
Those are free
donuts, yeah. So let's do that. And I went on I was out partying with friends, and I finished off the night with donuts. Yeah, they might not have sounded like the best thing there, but I can tell you, within my whole life, I've never gone more than 3 or 4 days without eating a Jack's donut. And I think Jack's is really special to me. I mean, it's my grandfather's name. It's my name. It's my dad's name. It's that box, even though it's just a box, means more to me. Other than my personal family, that means more to me than anything. It really does, because it's about setting goals, going for that, and as I said, being a part of the community and leaving things better than what they were when I showed up. That's what it's about. And as you were talking about our building here in Newcastle, that was something when we started to grow and we didn't have the money to invest. I wanted to fix that building up so bad, to make something beautiful in our town, and we're getting there. We've got a 5-year plan. We're in year 2 of it. I think when people see it in about a week and a half, it's going to look different, as it did when they did our parking lot, which is so funny. You guys are from here, and you guys know that our parking lot in Newcastle was legendary for years for just being awful.
You did a great little video when you had that thing repaved.
What's so funny is that was like by far the most popular. That was the second most popular interaction we've ever had on social media, was that parking lot. And I had numerous people from Indianapolis go up to me and they go, "What is the deal with everybody in Newcastle in that parking lot?" They're like, dude, your
parking lot was like the other 800 miles of county road in Henry County. It was just a total bombshell.
Dude, it's just asphalt. And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. People, we were legendary for that. Getting that done was probably one of the top 5 proudest moments I've had growing this company, was getting that.
Did you have anybody complain because you were changing something that was...
those are historic potholes, and you can't mess with those.
Ever since I was a girl.
Yeah. It is. We had people coming by. It is funny. We had people coming by that were like laying down as it was being paved and getting pictures taken. And it was hilarious because I was sitting out there a lot of the day and just kind of watching it, and people were just amazed by it. They were saying that, like, yeah, it's almost like a part of Newcastle is dying with this today. Like,
did you take a picture and memorialize it and put it up on the wall? So
yeah, we
remembers what the parking lot used to be.
Yeah.
You should have asked people for any bent rims or anything that they had.
Yeah, well, trust me, I've gotten a lot of those phone calls over the years, telling me I was going to have to
hang
pay
them up
for
in the
it.
shop. Like, this is where we came from.
Exactly. So, but that was a pretty awesome moment. So,
well, and it's a landmark location. Like Lane Siekman came through. Lane was on the show, and I went down and visited Lane when he was running for Congress, and he held court in your coffee shop. That's the place that a Democrat bought me a cup of coffee. He gave me, I gave him his change back, but he spent $2 on a cup of coffee, and I got Lane to pay for it.
Change back?
Yeah,
he's a Democrat, man. He wouldn't have done that.
The politics of a donut guy are nobody wants to hear what you think about anything.
Well,
everybody, you know what everybody wants to know? Everybody wants you to keep making donuts. So you know what? That's what I would say. That's what we're going to do. In the world that we live in now, it's so funny because it's great that you guys have a show, because I think that the more opinions that you can get out there, it's great for everybody to have an open mind. But I also think it's just as important for other people to keep their mouths shut. I see all the time. I see businesses that will express their opinions about things, about politics, and I think, I feel like when you do that, you don't have a platform to explain yourself. You're just making a statement. And when you do that, you are really kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because the world we live in, people get offended so easily. So that's why I would say, as a donut guy, you know what? I like people who like Jack's Donuts.
That's right.
That's who I like. That's who I like more than anybody.
With that being said, what do you think Trump should do about it?
Oh, here we go.
So the interesting thing about our show and us being uniquely,
Sure.
we're kind of in the middle, right?
Yeah.
We are socially very liberal or progressive, and we live and let live, do what you want to do. We don't want to control your lives. We may have personal opinions, but we don't think it's the government's job. And then economically, we're fiscal conservatives.
Sure.
We preach that, and we try to live that. Which about everybody agrees with on about half the things that are going on. So it positions us where we're relatable all the way across the board.
I think that people really have a lot more in common than what they think they do.
Absolutely,
I really do, and that's why when you guys approached me about coming on this, I was like, absolutely, because I think it's important to talk about what you guys talk about, and it's important for people to have their voices. So I that's why we live in a great country, because freedom of speech, that's what it's about. Real quick, while I'm thinking about this, because I don't want to forget, as I was saying, I love anybody who loves Jack's Donuts, and I don't like to offend anybody. I have offended some people. The
airing of the grievances.
That's right. When I was telling you that the parking lot was our second biggest post. Our number one biggest post, we posted, it was the week before the Super Bowl, and
I remember
this.
It
was the Falcons and the Patriots played. And we made a post. Who do you have? And we said Falcons, and we had a donut that was red and black and white sprinkles, Falcons collars, and it said, "Who you got? Falcons." Instead of Patriots, we said cheaters.
Nice.
And we had with the Patriots collars on there. And I bet I probably got 25 or 30 personal messages to my Facebook account. I had a few people tell me to go to hell.
First of all,
that's like, wow.
They're documented cheaters.
Yes.
It happened.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Plus,
in different eras.
I want to point out, at that time, we were only an Indiana company. So guess what? I mean, as you guys can see, I'm a sports fan. I have my Pacers shirt on. I have my Reds hat there in Ohio, but they're close to
the Indianapolis market.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I was blown away by how many people just called, and they were so mad. We had a woman call our store and scream at one of the girls working retail, saying she would never go into Jack's Donuts ever again, because how dare we say that about Tom Brady?
No, but
just wait.
The attention you got is better for the company than the 25 people that are butthurt over a donut.
And those 25 people, I'm sure, have moved on since and have bought many of Jack's Donuts since then.
Until you brought it up on Boss Hog Liberty. And now tomorrow morning, it's all reignited again.
They won that game. It's all good.
That's exactly right. The Patriots. Oh, yeah, and after they won, people were like, yeah, serves you right, you bunch of losers. We're just having fun. We're an Indiana company.
Just wait until the local amount of outrage whenever they hear that the Memorial Park Board's putting the Doughboy in your parking lot.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole ball game.
Radioactive. You don't want it, man.
No.
Just give everybody donuts and move on.
That's right.
Chase, I had a joke. I'm going to guess that the next Jack's Donuts isn't going to Massachusetts. Just guessing. That's
You
probably
don't
not
think so?
state.
That's correct. We are not going to Massachusetts. I have no problem with Massachusetts.
No, but they have a problem with
do.
you.
Yes, maybe.
I
yeah.
hate the Patriots. I hate the Red Sox. Celtics are okay.
Yeah, Brad Stevens. I mean, come on. That's like the olive branch to combine to between the two states.
I like Larry Bird, but I hate the Celtics. It's just, but I'm a hometown guy.
Yeah.
I'm just. You're a Bears fan. So.
I'm a Bears fan, but I'm a Yankees fan for baseball. But for basketball, I root for the Pacers. Like, I'm from Indiana, So I'll root for the Pacers until they get knocked out in the first round. And then I'll usually root for, like, Brad Stevens because I liked him when he was at Butler. And so
Remember how I was during the Game of Thrones talk? That's Dakota right now.
Okay.
Not a clue.
No, not a clue. Really,
Not a clue.
Yeah, I don't like sports at all.
Don't like sports at all. Really? That's so funny. Do you like video games?
Oh yeah.
What video games do you like?
Skyrim's my all-time
He
favorite.
plays that game where you
Minecraft.
walk around with your hands on fire.
Fortnite.
Don't pick on Minecraft.
World of
That's Dakota and I
Warcraft.
combining our.
I don't really. I have Fortnite on the PS4, but I really am a PUBG guy. More.
I've never played Fortnite ever. I have kids. I used to play video games all the time when I was a kid. I mean, or not a kid, in my 20s. I mean, I really was Grand Theft Auto in real life. I mean, I really was. That's what I and Madden. Played a lot of Madden. But yeah, I mean, games, that's what's great about video games is that those people who don't like sports, it kind of gives you something else where I think, 40 years ago, those kids really had nothing.
They just got their asses kicked.
That's every single day. Yeah.
That was it. All right. So Dakota has show notes prepared for us, and we're going to gently pivot to whatever the hell he has that we're supposed to talk about that's slightly serious.
What's
Lee,
up next?
you can weigh in anytime you want to as a Henry County resident on this stuff, but we don't want to cost your business or any fans. So
All right, thanks.
just, as you want to throw rocks and be funny, but...
we're going to talk about social media in a minute.
we'll get to that.
And Lee has done a great job with his, so...
I appreciate that.
That's
For
one
sure.
of the reasons that this topic was included into
Okay.
this episode.
So, but you want to talk about the Shell building.
I do,
There's
yeah.
news. You're propagating the myth that there's news on the Shell building. It's been
Okay.
it's been built since you were in middle school down there in the Commerce Park.
That's correct.
As I filled it,
2012.
I was out of the country for a week. So is somebody making something in there? Is it the new
I
Jack's
heard-
Donuts?
Well, I heard this rumor it was actually from the agenda of the Newcastle City Council meeting, and Aaron Dickin had mentioned that Corey Murphy, the Economic Development Corporation, had came to the meeting and said
Big fan of the show. We love Corey.
Oh yeah, he said that there had been some interest in the Shell building, and I was like, "Ooh, this is quite the development."
Juicy.
So I contacted first Travis Wyke because I wanted to see if
Like Budweiser.
Yep, I wanted to see if the Courier Times had picked up on this at all, or if we could be the first ones to introduce this news. Travis said that he hadn't heard anything. I reached out to Aaron Dickin. Aaron Dickin didn't know anything about it. I reached out to Mr. Clay Morgan. Clay didn't know anything about it. So finally, my search took me to the Murph man himself.
He is the guy in charge.
Yeah, that's
probably should have been your first phone call. Why'd you waste so much time and energy from our government officials?
Like I don't know. So
Dakota Waste Davis.
I asked Corey. I told him, if just as long as you're at liberty to share. I don't want you to get in any trouble if you're gonna spill beans to me or something. And he said that nothing specific, just some interest, and it continues to position our community for opportunities. So that's what he said. But then I said, dang it, man. I was really hoping that you would tell me that this is going to be the laydown area for the Cowpine Wind Farm.
You're a clickbaiting fool, Dakota Davis.
Yeah, that's right. I know how to run this. And and so then he sent me about 3 really long messages about I think I kind of cracked open I'm not being all business. You can share with me some things, but really it was just about how he gets all kinds of messages, and I didn't realize this from companies that are solely interested in Henry County because we have that Shell building there. And he said that 4 out of the last 6 projects that we've had in Henry County we wouldn't have gotten if we didn't have the Shell building.
They're a magnet that brings you in.
Yeah, and he gave me some interesting facts about them, about the Shell building, about how the ceilings are 32 feet tall, which is the industry standard for places like that. It actually does not have a floor inside of it, which
There's no slab on grade. It's just dirt floors.
Gravel.
Yeah, gravel floor. Which I'd wondered about before because in my previous industry in industrial construction, the floor specifications of places can be really intense. Boar's head flooring systems were a bear to do, and I always kind of wondered, like, how can they prepare with the floor inside that place because the company's not going to want to come in, pay people to jack up all this concrete, and then have to replace it.
You'll come in, you'll hire a structural. I sell rebar,
so I don't know if that was interesting to anybody else.
You'll design whatever foundations you need inside.
Yeah, but I asked him specifically. I was like, "Is the new jail going to go there?" He said no. They did lower the asking price from $2 million to $1.8.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's 10% off.
And
with my Blue River Valley math.
And another interesting thing that I found out. This can be my last point of interesting points about the shell building, was that Runbaum, is that how you pronounce it?
Runbaum.
Runbaum? Runbaum.
Mike Runbaum was the...
you sound Canadian when you say that.
Well, I was born 2 miles from Canada. That's a secret about me, Lee.
Sorry.
Yes. Mike Runbaum was the state treasurer of the Libertarian Party of Indiana for years and years and years. Yeah.
But I guess that they actually get the vast majority of the money that comes in from that.
They pretty much finance the thing. The county has a small portion of it, but that was the deal they cut when they built it. Was that Runbaum Construction kind of built it on spec, and way back in the day. This is probably 2010, 2012 when that was built, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, it was built in 2012.
Yeah, okay. So at that time, that was the deal. It was kind of, the county had low risk in it, and it was a public-private partnership with Runbaum Construction, and then they were going to get their end of it.
Were there any libertarians that were fired up about it back in the day?
No, it was, we kind of watched it and said, okay, whatever.
It has turned out really, really well for our community, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
that is my official opinion.
The county doesn't own the building. The Economic Development Corporation markets the building, but it's set up in a way that the private market with Runbaum has taken the risk on it.
Yep. Yeah, he gave me all kinds of really interesting information that I'm super glad to have. It can be expanded up to 200,000 square feet, which is more than enough for a county jail than we would ever need.
Because the appropriate place to put your county jail is inside of your industrial park.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? Why spend all this money if we got this empty building just sitting here? Just all it needs is a floor and some cells put into it, some pods. And it's already 50,400 square feet, which is 54,000 square feet was the suggestion from the person that we saw at the meeting. I mean, we're right there. It is the perfect spot for it.
I've been in that building. It's a great building. From the outside, it really is. It's something that I think it has to bring business in. And the people I've talked to about it have said that people come in and they look at it and they're really seriously thinking about, well, let's use this. But then they realize they kind of want to start from scratch, and you don't blame them. But I would believe that it is paid for itself and then some. So as long as it's there,
I
keep
think
it
so
up.
too. So is it going to be the future facility for Jack's Donuts coffee beans?
I will tell you that Jack's Donuts has looked at that building. Honestly,
Ooh.
it has. We have looked at that building, but it was more of just we're always planning ahead. And luckily, small town Indiana, you can call and you can say, hey, we're planning ahead for like maybe 2 or 3 years, and we see, we know the square footage. Can we just go out there and kind of walk through it to see if it can be a vision for us? What's that?
Yeah.
Clue us in,
yeah, clue us in. And that is one of the great things about living in a small town like that, because people they're not thinking, oh, this guy's just wasting my time. They think, you know what, it's okay. We can spare 30 minutes to go with Lee to go out there and take a look at it, because ultimately the world headquarters for Jack's Donuts will always be in Newcastle. So yeah.
Oh, I'm glad to hear you say that. We're not moving to Utah anytime soon.
Henry County.
We love anybody that buys donuts, no matter where they are. But the home base will always be here.
Henry County really has a lot going for it. And as a guy that grew up here, or high school years on, we are, you can be in a major city, downtown Indianapolis, in 45 minutes from here.
Yes,
if you drive a reasonable speed.
I go to a lot of Pacers games, and we tell 42 minutes. That's the time from my driveway to in the garage.
Exactly. So yeah, you can leave at 6:00 and be down there, no problem at all by the time they tip.
It might take you a little longer because you drive pretty slow.
We went to my bachelor party in Nashville. I drove like 75 7 miles an hour. I'm sitting in the back seat we're in the Tahoe going to my bachelor party. I'm in the back seat. I make Chase drive for the last hour or so because I was we followed we did the same thing.
If you're in the fast lane,
that's why he had to stop driving.
When we stopped for fuel, we shotgunned a couple, and
if you're
it was time for
lane,
Chase to drive.
You should at least be going 80 to 85.
I didn't even know my truck would go that fast.
Chase looked down at one point was going 91.
Keeping up with traffic in Nashville.
I was going the speed of traffic.
Yeah, of course.
Can I just say, Travis Ham is just he's
is
chatting.
Is
right
he
now.
poking it?
No, he's not poking the bear. But I have to do this because he's asking about a product that we have at our store. He's like, "Is it there?" Yes, Travis. It's been there for a week. The cold brew.
Maybe
our
you should
new
visit.
Nitro cold brew. I should have brought a can. Travis, maybe you should go. He's losing his Jack Stone's legitimacy right now.
I've tried it.
Yeah.
I've actually tried it. It is good.
Thank you.
What's in the cold brew? Is it sugar free?
It's a nitro cold brew. Yes, it's amazing.
See, now I've got a product I can pick up.
Yeah, and I should have brought a can with me. It doesn't really go well with alcohol, so that's one of the reasons I didn't bring it
That's
tonight.
fake news. I bet if you put some Baileys in it, it'd be all right.
Yeah, probably some Baileys, but I'm not a big Baileys guy.
me either.
Glow's about as girly as I get. So, yeah.
Hey, that's okay.
He's circling back around.
All right.
I would really like that.
Maybe I'll be in tomorrow morning.
Love a good
Honestly,
cold brew.
Dakota, Glow seems like a show you would enjoy.
Does it?
Yeah.
If
All
you
right.
don't like sports,
I'll give it a shot.
Did you ever watch wrestling?
No.
He played football
I
in high school for try.
I made fun of the kids that watched wrestling.
See, I only watched
Spicer.
wrestling a little bit, but I still love Glow.
Okay.
I watched wrestling when I was up until I was like in high school, and then
Who's your favorite?
I was an Ultimate Warrior guy.
Okay.
Ultimate Warrior was my favorite, and of course I loved Hulk Hogan. I mean,
Oh,
I took
Hey, what's up,
took
brother?
my vitamins, took my vitamins, said my prayers. I can't do a Hulk impression. It's not good.
You want to talk about social media now, brother?
There we can talk about, yeah.
You're listening to the Ball Talk of Liberty on the We're Libertarians Network. Jeremiah Morrill, Dakota Davis, Lee Marcum, CEO of Jack's Donuts, and Chase Payton. We don't really know what he does here, but he's here. He's got perfect teeth. We're at my wedding. Was it the Friday night or the Saturday of my wedding? Maybe it was the day of my
It
wedding.
was the rehearsal dinner.
The rehearsal dinner, and there's an orthodontist assistant who's in there, and she looks at Chase and just goes, "Oh my God, you have the perfect set of teeth." I'm like,
She wanted it.
and she was under 65, so she was in your age range. You're good to go.
Watch out, Katie.
If I wasn't taken, if I didn't have to save the world, then I might have.
And don't
Hit her up.
you forget it, Bucko.
Good for you and your good teeth.
That's
great.
It's impressive.
That's great. So,
They've
I'm missing a
outbred
couple.
all the Kentucky that was in him. It's gone. He's
doggone every bit of it. He's got that Chicago jersey on.
Go Bears.
the Bears.
The Bears.
All right, Dakota. What are we talking about with social media? What's this final major topic?
Did you just say a boot?
A boot.
What are we talking about?
What's all this about?
I'm
I'm telling you, man. I was born 2 miles from the Canadian waters.
I couldn't really tell if I wanted to talk about social media and politics or social media and its impact on society in general. I decided to do it with politics because of the different things that have been happening nationally, statewide, and locally with social media and our and candidates and actual politicians. Things that have been going on that I think have been kind of flying under the radar. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring them up here. I know that I haven't heard it on 93.1 anytime. So
WIBC, the News and Talk of Indiana.
We might be breaking news. I might have to send this to Abdul in the cheat sheet.
We've been the reasons things have been published in his newsletter before.
Well, I know it has been. Now my notes are getting blocked because Chase is getting donuts. But anyway,
What flavor are you getting,
Sorry.
Chase? What's next?
Oh, caramel with nuts. I saw this bad boy in there, and I was like, I got to get it.
Did you lick it to keep it safe? Does that work in the store? If somebody licks it, does that
Well,
really?
that's why we have the showcase where they can't have access to
Before
it.
I think the correct answer is no one's ever licked a donut at the store.
Before I devour this thing, do you want a bite?
No, I can't, man.
Just one bite.
I'll pass out. I'll be done.
You won't
I'll be in this sugar coma.
I know for a fact you had at least one bite before your wedding. The
Of a
night
donut?
before. Yeah. I gave it to you.
Did I? Yeah, you talked me into it. I made a lot of bad decisions that week.
Ooh, what are you saying there? What else was a
You
bad
better
decision?
tread lightly there.
I remember I made a gaffe like that after I got married, and you guys didn't let me live it down. But now I've erased your memory, so you don't remember what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That's what I thought.
Literally no idea.
Okay.
I'll go back and listen to the audio, though. I'll know.
First thing was Donald Trump trying to get us into a thermonuclear war with Iran through his tweets with in all caps, scrolling through Facebook casually, and you come across a controversial, Facebook post, and then there's going to be a baby boomer in the comments that's yelling in all caps. And that is what Donald Trump, our president, how he was working his diplomacy. But you know what? I gotta say that the man has definitely proved me wrong with social media in the past. I mean, now we've had the Korean summit. We've had him actually having talks with Syrian leaders, and it stemmed from his social media. So, I mean, I thought that he crossed the line this time, but I've also thought that he's crossed the line in the past. So,
I mean, basically, the dude just continues to the more you scream at high volume, the less people pay attention. And at this point, it's not even getting headlines.
Oh yeah, I mean,
a year ago it would have been a different story.
Like I saw it in a wall chat, and I'm signed up to like 3 email lists that I read in the morning, and I also get on Drudge Report every morning.
Let's be honest,
it didn't make my radar before.
Are you too busy reading those emails to keep the power on in Frankfurt, Indiana?
Yeah,
Is that what happened to those poor people today?
Hey, I never got a call that said SCADA on it.
Sure. You're missing out, man.
Is it a good one?
It's my favorite.
You really, if you're going to podcast, you really ought to use the microphone, Chase.
It's delicious.
That one looks good. I had a white icing roll.
Those are $2 a piece, right?
That's okay.
If you're willing to pitch in.
You.
Am I going to get a bill in the mail later? Like,
that was 2 dozen
Jack's Donuts.
Yeah. Betsy Mills used to be my favorite guest, but she's moved down to number 2. I'm sorry, Betsy. You're still my girl, but
no.
We've sold the Jack's Donuts through the Henry County 4-H Junior Leader Food Booth for literally as long as I've been around.
I did know that.
You guys have always hooked us up down there.
Well, and that's like I was talking about earlier. That's one of the great things about coming back to town is being able to do that and really realize the impact you're having, but also realize where you still have work to do. I mean, we've been here for almost 60 years, but we can still get better. There's still things that we need to do. Every year we're trying to give as much money as we can to the local athletic department just to kind of keep, even like the band. We want to keep those kids in the activities that they can be in. And, I have to say, I just got a text message from somebody telling me to get off my phone. It was Mark Bowers, who owns our Anderson store. Mark's from here, and he's doing in Anderson exactly what we're doing here in Newcastle. Not just being the guy who opens a business up, but being part of the community and understanding. And Anderson's going to be better because Jack's Donuts is there making an impact as well. So, and that kind of, you guys are talking about politics. That's the politics that donuts can do. Is that it can, if anything, and I know I'm getting really chintzy here and really cheesy here, but it's something that everybody can agree on. And if we can get people to talk, if we can get people to talk to each other respectfully over a box of Jack's Donuts, why wouldn't we? Even if it is Mark Bowers and Anderson, who's
everybody loves donuts
right now. Everybody does love donuts. It doesn't matter who you are.
No,
and if you don't,
unless you're an idiot,
that's right, or a Patriots fan, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm guessing that 50th state's going to be Massachusetts. You're going to get Hawaii before you get Massachusetts.
Oh God,
you're going to have to be like Carl's Jr., where it's like. They're Lee's Donuts in Massachusetts. That way.
That's true. I did. Yeah, it's
going to be the same stylizing and everything.
Funny, the Hardee's here in Newcastle, I very seldomly go to, and it's nothing against it. I just don't think about it. And I just got back from stayed in Carlsbad, California. I went to Carl's Jr. like 4 days, and you know what I had? A breakfast burrito, and it was amazing every day.
Now, Carl's Jr.'s breakfast burritos they're fire.
They are.
I have
amazing
because I do this keto South Beach thing. I have the naked burrito, the burrito bowl. The burrito in a bowl at Hardee's all the time. That's my go-to.
I didn't know they did that here.
Yeah, you just say just give me the burrito in a bowl. No shell.
Here?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's breaking news. Breaking news. Here's my secret.
I'm going to remember that more than anything.
I order 2.
Well, you do. Yeah,
I bet you're the person that kept ordering the cheeseburger without a bun, but replaced with lettuce.
No,
that was me and Audrey.
I don't do that.
That really was you. I think I made one for you.
Yeah, you did.
I worked there in high school.
Were you at Hardee's?
Yeah, when it first opened, I was there.
Chase made him the best way because he made him wrong.
I really did.
Put too much stuff on there.
I always just poured it on, man. Whatever it was, I always gave too much sauce.
He also gave you too much lettuce.
Did you have to work on Christmas?
I didn't work on Christmas. I don't think they could force me to work on Christmas because I was under 18 at the time.
Because you were a Christian.
I was, yes.
I still think that's odd that they're open on Christmas.
It is weird.
I think that's weird.
But
they're busy too, so I can't really say anything because you drive by there on Christmas morning and the place is packed.
Who's going to Hardee's on Christmas?
They're only supposed to work until like a certain time, like 10 or 12, something like that. But I remember when I was there, they worked till like 2 or 3 that day.
Oh, God.
If there is anybody watching or listening right now, if you went to Hardee's as a customer on Christmas morning, tell me why.
We want you to explain
I have
yourself.
to know.
Because I can.
If there were a day to be in your pajamas all day long or to be in your gym shorts and a T-shirt,
are you saying
Christmas.
we can't get a Jack's Donuts Christmas morning?
No,
you got to plan ahead.
No, you got to plan ahead with that because I want my employees to be at home in their underwear all day long.
Exactly.
So, one of the biggest revelations in Jack's Donuts for me was whenever you guys started opening up at nighttime.
Yeah, that was one
of your moves.
That was one of my moves.
We've got these things. Let's sell them all day. Why stop at noon?
Exactly. It was. And plus, we didn't even make it to noon the majority of the time. My thought was, we're paying to be in this building 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. Let's try and make money. If we had a drive-through, we would be open 24 hours. Nice. For employee safety, we stay open until midnight here, and we do 1 on the weekends. We used to do 3 on the weekends, and we were asked by the lovely folks at the Newcastle Police Department to stop doing that. And the reason is because there were a lot of drunk people. I mean, that's really just boils down to a lot of drunk people, a lot of people on Saturday nights. They'd come try and sober up at the donut shop. They were always really nice. But they might have just been a little too loud in the parking lot.
That could have been me. I'm not going to lie.
So Brandy Pierce came knocking at your door one day. Is that what you're telling me?
Brandy said yes, she's the canine officer.
Brandy, she was probably one of the few who were like, "Hey, Lee, you would make our lives a lot easier if you could close at 1 instead of 3."
You know, I can really see that.
Now, I want to know why they hang out at Casey's instead of your place, though.
Who, the cops?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you have to do? Do you have to put a magnet out? How do you get that business?
I don't know. That's a good. Well, they don't pay for anything, so I'm not really too upset.
Well, that's true.
But
I know Shirley, in Shirley, their police department in their little sing along video featured Jack's Donuts in it.
Yeah, they did.
They did that.
Shirley PD, yes, which was awesome. The cops come in our place all the time. We give the cops the local police donuts all the time. They come in. They don't hang out. I would imagine probably a lot of it's just better access. You're kind of stuck over there on 14th Street.
Why don't linemen get free donuts?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Dakota, here we go.
I've been brainstorming.
Time out. What the hell are these on the table right now?
That's true.
These are podcast free donuts. I go in there once a month and buy 3 dozen, man.
It's all right, man. It's okay. I never hate on anybody for trying to get a deal.
Somebody's got to pay the bills.
I'll take my business to the Fisher's Jack's Donuts.
I tell people all the time, because there'll be times we've had people that have copied coupons. Put it on a copier and copied it and tried to guess. And I'm like, man, I really appreciate that effort. I really wish I could take this.
Rob Simmons didn't get his cut, okay? You are screwing him over in his Great Deals magazine.
Yeah, when you do the Great Deals magazine and you make copies of it, it's like, guys, we can't do that. We're not... I really appreciate the effort.
It's just so funny.
Slow clap for you. But we're just not doing that.
And it has to be so obvious, too. Have you ever gotten one that's black and white?
Oh, yeah. We really have. I'm not exaggerating. Where they've done that. It's like, this is you, and you can tell they set it up where it's it's the same coupon 4 times on the same page, and they just cut it. Good for you for trying, but I just can't do that.
You need your clerks in there with the little marker that you have for a $20 bill on the coupons confirming them. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't. I have to reject this.
Yep. Sorry, ma'am.
This
is counterfeit.
I've been brainstorming for a while now, and you might not be able to comment on what I'm about to say. And that's okay. I understand.
Sure.
But when weed's legalized, I really want to open a shop right across the street from you guys, or at least down
where the barbershop used to be.
Yeah.
And it's gonna boost your sales quite a bit.
I agree.
I think it's gonna help both of us out.
I agree. If it's legal, why not? I mean, it's I
Man,
will.
Oregon.
I will drink Jameson. I love.
We're gonna have edible donuts.
Yeah, I'm
Oregon
I
and
don't know about that. I don't know about
California
that,
are free
but
states.
You know, I'm a Miller High Life connoisseur. So if it's legal, then if it's legal, it's legal. So,
There you go.
Yep. You just keep people buying donuts. That's all.
That's
it is.
exactly right. That's exactly
All right.
right.
I think by the time I'm 40, it's going to be legal. I really do.
We're at an hour and 17 minutes. I have to talk about the District 4 State Representative Sally Segrist. I think that's
We'll go Segrist. I'm going to go Segrist.
Segrist?
She's from up in
Let me see
the
it.
Lafayette,
She has
Tippecanoe
the-
County area.
She has the I before the E. Anyway,
Where is it at?
what she did is
Segrist,
down
like
here.
Oppenheimer.
Segrist? All right, I'll go with it.
I'm not
All
gonna
right.
attempt
She
that.
made a controversial tweet, and if you're in the Patreon group, you can follow a link over to it. But she made a controversial tweet whenever she found out that she actually had to run against an opponent, and she was basically calling them out about not being true to where they grew up. Like, I grew up here, you didn't grow up here, blah blah blah. Well, it started blowing up, so obviously she deletes the tweet. Which is whatever.
You don't have Lafayette credit.
Yeah, that's what it was. And so what she did that took it a step further was she deleted the tweet.
I know Bob Rohrman himself. Yeah.
Bob Moore. But she deleted the tweet. She blocked reporters that were asking her questions, and then she made her account private. And this was her Segrist, I think is how we're pronouncing it. It's like District 4 Rep. That was the Twitter handle.
It's her official account.
Yeah, it's her official account, and she's blocking reporters and made it private, which would just so happen to fall within weeks of a time that a federal judge ruled on the case on the side of reporters. And let's see here.
It was Davison versus the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors, I assume.
Yes, correct. Yeah, the federal.
I remember that case well.
A federal judge sided with the reporter Davidson against the county board supervisors, and it basically said that if you are the proud owner of an official Twitter account as a government official, then it is a violation of the First Amendment of the rights that reporters have if you block them from your Twitter page or Facebook page or whatever. Social media is how it's worded. So I thought that was really interesting because that got me thinking about, the society side of things that we're talking about, but also about whenever a candidate is running for office and they have you have a social media page. We have a social media page for the Libertarian Party of Henry County. And I think that all of our candidates, all of our county council candidates do have Facebook pages. But it's like, is this something that the average voter really actually has to pay attention to with how someone portrays themselves on the internet as a candidate? Because then how do you think that they're going to portray themselves whenever they're elected? Now that whenever they're trying to win your favor versus whenever they've already won it, is it going to expand on the bad things that you see? So that got me thinking about that, and then went kind of took my brain down a different course of how has it just impacted our political sphere as a whole. And I think that it's done a lot of good because it used to be you could only meet your state rep or whoever, or even your county commissioners or people if you went to a public meeting, right? That's the only time that you got to see them in action, hear what they had to say, and the only time that you had a chance of maybe getting to talk to them. Now you can literally send your senator a message on his Facebook page, and a staffer will read it, and if it's important enough, he will send it along to Joe Donnelly or Todd Young or whoever. So that is obviously a great benefit of social media. One of the bad things is, of course, confirmation bias, which has always been a problem. Basically, whenever Facebook sets up their algorithms and you are going through your Facebook timeline, you're really only seeing the things of people that you agree with, because Facebook knows if you see things that you agree with, then you're going to like your experience a lot more.
That's why I get so many Jack's Donuts posts.
Exactly. So
That was a good plug.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm a pro. We've been doing this this is episode 70. We've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how they do it. And so now all of a sudden right? So I'm scrolling through my feed during the 2016 election. I'm a libertarian. Facebook knows that because I've shared it everywhere, right? So I'm seeing things from other libertarians in my feeds about, this is how Gary Johnson can pull off a 2016 win. I know that that's probably BS, but whatever. However, there's a lot of people out there that don't know that. So whenever you're seeing all these reaffirming things, it fills you with a false sense of hope. And I think that whenever you have this pseudo-confidence around you because of what you've been seeing on social media, and then that thing doesn't happen, you're going to be a lot more emotional about that result than what you would have been before. Because I think that that's just kind of human nature. You think that something's going to happen. I mean, just if you told one of your sons that they couldn't have something or they couldn't do something, they get upset, right? And maybe it's because they thought that they could. And I think that
I don't care what they think. Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's a good way to kind of look at it. In regards to people, just the way that they relate, I think that's dangerous in a sense that people.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
it's dangerous, but. And you're talking about, being able to talk to congressmen or whoever is to talk to your congressman or whoever is in office and being able to DM them. It's the world we live in now. Things are changing so fast that new rules are having to be written every single day. And I personally like the fact of my politicians I would love it if my politicians were not on social media. I would love to not have that kind of a relationship with them, that the only way I can talk to them is at a council meeting. But as I said, just because I like that doesn't mean that's the way it works. That's not the way it works anymore.
It's incredibly attractive as a candidate because it's the most direct access you have
it is.
To get your message out.
When you're a candidate. But then when you're in office, that's when it gets a little more dicey. I don't think people growing up now, let's just talk about this as kids that are growing up now that are going to be politicians one day.
People like Chase.
There you go.
Yes.
They do not realize that every skeleton in their closet is going to come out.
Oh yeah, I'm screwed. I've said some stupid stuff on this podcast.
Who was the guy for the Brewers? Did you see this?
Holder.
Yes, who when he was, and I'm not
a 7-year-old tweet, 8-year-old tweet.
Yeah, when he was saying making racial slurs, which is just it's unacceptable. And I'm not going to sit here and say whether it's good or bad that the media went after him the way it was, but that's because it was for the people who don't know what it is. As a kid,
from him from when he was like 16.
I did the math. He was 17.
Okay,
and he was 17, and he posted some racial slurs, and he's 23 or 24 now.
Yes,
and somebody had found him and posted him online, and luck for his sake. His teammates really rallied around him and they said they knew that that's not who he was and that he was a stupid kid. But that is just the tip of the iceberg for what's going to happen in politics and with social media. Mm-hmm. Is that no matter what it is, if you were Dakota, if you were going to run for office one day and you decided one day you were going to be a Democrat or a Republican, people are going to eat you alive for that because they're going to look at your social media posts from years before and say, "Can you trust this guy? Really?
Yeah, look at him. He went.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were a Republican. My whole opinion about you has changed.
But that's what it is, though. Is that people?
No, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. And Dr. Richard Heyer, who's a neuroscientist, talked about this just a few weeks ago in a lecture where he talked about how he believes that in the future we're going to have kind of like Google Glasses, the Google Glass things. Mm-hmm. But instead, whenever I have them on, I'll be looking at you, and then I'll see a profile of you, and I'll have your information. And then that's going to cause me to automatically know this information and judge you before I even get a chance to talk to you.
It's kind of like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what he was drawing off of. But
I don't think that's far fetched to say anymore.
No.
I really don't. But I don't think it's good either, though.
No, and he was talking about as a neuroscience, the effects that it would have on the chemical makeup of the brain and the staggering amounts of like depression and things that could be fed from that. And I thought that was rather interesting.
Yeah, people who are going to be in the public eye 10, 15, 20 years from now, whether it's politics, sports, media, it has to be something that they're going to have as clean as a background as possible because, yeah, sure, there's criminal background records, but social media, it's going to be dicey. It's going to be tough.
Except for our current president. He's done, all kinds of things and overcome it.
But you're talking about a man with a net worth of $5 billion. So it's like, of course he's slept with Playboy models, like
your social media, once you're elected, becomes more one-way communication. You're communicating your message out. You're talking at a high level and you're sending information out. When you're trying to run a campaign, if you're congressional level or higher, you probably have staffers that are doing your social media for you. If you are a state rep, you're probably doing your own thing. If you're running for a county council race, you're trying to do your own thing and learning along the way. There are people with all different skill sets that are running those campaigns. You may have somebody that's 65, 70 years old and doesn't really know what they're doing, and they're doing the best they can, trying to use it as a communication method, but they just don't get it. That's not first nature to them, but they know that's the platform they need to be on. And then you have another person that's 30 years old and they've grown up with a phone in their hand since they were 15, and it's second nature. You got to show a little bit of grace, but at the same time, you don't want to do anything stupid. When you send something out, you've got to use a little bit of logic. Luckily, as a libertarian, you kind of you have a.
That's why that's why I have to approve everything I get tagged in.
Yeah, we've learned this. Being on the Wall Network,
Spangle,
being on the Wall Network, nothing goes on our wall without us going. Oh yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, that's not getting put on there.
Yeah, that's not my mother's my Facebook friend. My mother-in-law.
My grandmother's on here.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. So just use it smartly, and you guys have done a great job with that with the Jack side. You've got a lot of employees and a lot of people to look out for, and you've got
exactly. It's
not just Lee Marcum.
No, it's I am the star of the show, so no, I'm just. But you're exactly right, and that's something you have to do is understand. We talk with our people about that, to always remember about what the things you do post online, because people see that and they have an opinion of you, and you might make somebody happy, but you can just as easily piss off two people, and that's not good, and that's not what you want, and it's not the image that you want to portray, and that kind of I almost feel like that. I feel bad for some people. I shouldn't say I feel bad. I don't like the fact that sometimes, depending on whoever runs a company or who the face of a company is, that company, their brand automatically gets labeled conservative or liberal. Because that's just one or two people at the top who have that particular opinion. Right. That's the kind of world that really scares me as we go into, where it's like, oh, if you're a liberal, you cannot go to Chick-fil-A. If you're a conservative, you are not allowed to go to Starbucks. Just because the people at the top have a certain opinion, there are thousands of people who are in that company who have their own opinions, who rely on you to come in there every single day. With Papa John's, with him being all the dumb things that he's doing right now. Just because he's an idiot doesn't mean that
the local Newcastle, Indiana store doesn't need your business.
And I remember hearing, I know a guy who owns some Jimmy John's franchisees. And I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, John, I cannot remember his name, who started Jimmy John's. Or not, no, his name wasn't John, his name was Jimmy.
Yeah.
How he got in trouble for hunting wild, or didn't get in trouble, but there were videos of him.
There were people that
hunting wild game in Africa.
Yeah.
And I remember this guy telling me, you can boycott Jimmy John's, but you're not boycotting him. He's going to get paid no matter what. You're boycotting the franchisees who bought into this company with him. So that's kind of the good and the bad about social media, and that's why I love. You guys follow Wendy's on Twitter?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Wendy's is
so
amazing.
Good.
Did you see they tore up Steak and Shake today? It was awesome.
I didn't see that. No,
and I think that's hilarious. And I think, but
good.
they're walking that fine line and they're doing it excellently. But yeah, with social media, it's changed everything.
When are you going to start putting quack daddies in Pendleton on blast on Twitter?
Those guys are good guys. We've met them a few times, and that's the thing. We do an event every year in Indianapolis. It's called it's a donut beer festival with a group called Girls Pint Out.
You have my attention,
and it's awesome, and it's great because all the local donor shops are there, and even though we have 17 locations, when we had just one location, we did it, and we have 17 locations, and we still do it every year. And they pair us with local breweries, and all the donut and the beer people get to talk. It's probably one of the funnest events of the year.
I'm gonna have to go to that.
It's awesome. We'll it is fantastic. We've been partnered with Beer Brewery. We've been partnered with who else have we been partnered with? I think we've done a 4-Day Ray. It's just a great event, and that's kind of goes back to the old school way of networking, where you can sit down and talk with people, have a pint, discuss things that work in business and things that don't. And we get to talk to the guys at Quack Daddy every year. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we are getting to that point in the show where we do final thoughts. It's a chance for everybody to pitch one last thing, mention something, do their their recognition of anything that's going on. We'll give Lee the floor first, and we're very much thankful for you stopping by and hanging out.
No, guys, thanks for having me on. Anytime I can, promote my business, my company, I like to do it, and I really like the fact you guys are here in Newcastle. That's kind of where I jumped at the opportunity to be a part of it. Thanks for letting me come on. All I can tell you is just thanks to everybody here locally for being with our brand as we have grown. No matter what, I'll always own the Jack Donuts of Newcastle store. So my roots are here, and our franchisees that are throughout Indiana and Utah, they are in the communities that they're in. And just remember that when you shop at Jack's Donuts, just because it's a Newcastle company, I can assure you that the Fishers, the Carmel, the Greenfield, the Greenwood, the Bloomington, all those stores are part of the community, and they're being a part of it. And the next time you're in a store, ask for a can of our new Nitro Cold Brew. It just came out.
There we go.
It's really good.
JacksDonuts.com, Lee Marcum, Facebook, Twitter, I assume. All those places.
At Jack's Donuts on Twitter, Instagram, at DonutLee1 for myself personally. If you want to see how awesome my life is, it's as basic as it gets. It's family and kids and donuts. So yeah,
it's the palatial Newcastle
there
residence.
You go.
Chase Payton.
As always, I have a few things.
Oh no.
First off, I don't know if the viewers noticed, but I'm in my football jersey.
You're in your Bears jersey.
My Bears jersey. It is
the Super Bowl 41 loser.
We're about to enter the best time of the year, Jeremiah. Football is right around the corner. It started today for most teams. Training camp. We get to see who gets hurt. You got to start planning. I'm already planning who I'm drafting for my fantasy football draft.
We do need to work that out. Were you in the fantasy football league with me last year?
I was not. I didn't know you last year.
Yeah, that's true. God, it's such a new friendship.
I know.
But yeah, my dog peed on you for the Super Bowl.
He did. He did.
Yeah, we came so far. So we got to get you in the league.
I'm down. I'm always looking for a new league.
Right.
I'm in like 3 or 4.
It's a Yahoo league.
You can never get enough.
All right.
I like Yahoo. So yeah, that's my first thing. We got football coming up about a month and a half for the important games to start. And then right after that is baseball playoffs, which is always good for my team.
It's intense.
Maybe not for yours. Sorry.
I don't have
high hopes. There.
I don't have high hopes for my Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Yeah, sorry. And then my next thing, I just wanted to see, you had a big weekend.
I did. A couple of them.
How was your honeymoon? What was your favorite part?
I had a lot of favorite parts, but the you're welcome for that.
Is there a bun in the oven?
Not yet. I sure hope not. Awful early. I really enjoyed Cozumel. We had a great day at Nachicocom in Cozumel. That was a really cool spot.
You went snorkeling. Did you see any sharks?
Saw a barracuda.
Ooh, was it?
It was
scary?
It was no. I was okay. I'm bigger than it was. I figured I could punch it in the nose.
Did you piss yourself?
No, it's good. I
might have pissed myself.
The moment I actually pissed myself, or nearly
barracuda.
did, we were standing on the beach in Cozumel, and I'm 6 feet tall, and Sarah's 5'2". So we're both shoulder level, so I'm 3 feet away from her on the beach, and I'm looking back in, and she's looking at me, and this giant 3-foot long fish swims between us with a yellow fin. I'm like, oh my God. And she didn't see it. And I'm freaking out. Like an hour and a half later, we take our snorkeling deal, and they point out, and there's this school of fish.
Sure.
And it's yellowfin tuna. I'm like, oh my God, that was a giant tuna fish that swam between us in 4 feet of water.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was like the freak out moment for me.
And then my last thing, share, view this comment. We're doing this thing now. If one of our videos gets up to 50,000 views, Jeremiah said he would get a Boss Hog of Liberty tattoo. I'm also saying I will get one with him if we get 50,000 views on this video.
My terrifying moment is, what if I take another vacation and you change the logo? If I get something tattooed on me, and then Dakota changes the logo because the Patreon people said something's different. Now what do I do?
We will give you a list of options
like,
of what our tattoo...
a Jack's Donuts logo tattooed on your body somewhere?
I do not have any tattoos at all.
Yeah. I don't either. So getting one is a pretty big commitment.
It's a pretty big thing, yeah.
if you got the Jack's Donuts logo and then for some reason y'all change it, I'm like, man, that is permanent.
It is. Hey, permanent. Listen, Cade Coger got an L&K Farms logo tattooed on him, and they changed it, and he is fine.
It's true. We will let you vote on it in the Patreon feed. 50,000 views. All three of us will get one.
50,000 on. Sarah Morrill says the only tattoo I'll have is the Morrill crest.
Oh, man, she's already dictating part of your life.
That'll be the first tattoo. Okay, Chase Larson, calm down.
You can get that first, but
I've heard they're addictive. Dakota, every time I turn around, Dakota's got a new tattoo.
I got 7 now.
All right. Anything else?
Now it's 8.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.
Shirt.
All right. Dakota Davis.
My final thoughts are, let's see. I think we had some really good conversation tonight. I enjoyed talking about the social media and the impacts that it's had. Once again, want to give a thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. Every time I turn around, every time that I post something into one of our Facebook groups, I am always blown away by the amount of community that we have developed around us. It's always great to see that, because I think that it's vital. It's something different. It's, we're totally, you guys have made us different than any other podcast in that way. And of course I'm always appreciative of that. So,
we've said from the very beginning that we give our time to this thing, and the Patreon money is what pays the bills and covers the hosting and covers the equipment and makes everything happen. So we are very appreciative to the community that helps make the show happen. We're not making money off of it, but we're breaking even.
Kenan wants to know when we're having Pat Cronk on here, and we are doing all kinds of fun episodes, and then we are going to get right back into the swing of things after we get moved into our new studio of doing all of the different elected officials and politician candidates interviews. So right after we get moved into that new studio, we're going to be doing another big old round. We might be doing podcasting 3 nights a week again, but at least it won't be in my house this time.
Don't tell the wives.
But so we'll be getting back into that. But of course, that's the other big thing, is that to make that happen, it's going to, of course, take more money. So get on over there on the Patreon account. It's patreon.com/BossHogOfLiberty. We're getting there, people. And as always, very, very appreciative.
All right. Well, that's Dakota Davis. Final thoughts. 2 things to pitch real quick. Our friends over at Purdue Extension are having an event August 4th at Crazy Hops Farm down in Knightstown. They have a free event. If you look at Purdue Extension Henry County, Kelsey Myers asked me to share that, and it's well worth looking at. If I can make it down there, I will. They're like the premier hop operation in the state of Indiana. It's right here at home, so it's a big deal. 9:30 in the morning till noon, August 4th. Learn all about that. I've heard their presentation, and it's really cool. Second thing, there's a video that Reason Magazine put out like yesterday that's like mind blowing. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Congressman Thomas Massey, one of my absolute favorites in the U.S. Congress. It's a 30-minute sit down with him and I think it's Matt Welch of Reason, talking about what Congress is actually like and what their responsibilities are and how they're supposed to raise money, and how at this point he's just, because he's different and doesn't fall in line with everybody else, they basically hate him for breathing air, is what he says.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
It is an absolute must watch. So go find that. I shared it myself, but if you just go to YouTube and type in Reason and Thomas Massey, it's there. Really, really recommend you watch that. And it's not a left or right thing. It's just this is, as you're getting ready to go into the political cycle and learning about what's coming, and we're getting ready to pick a new congressman here at home, watch that and pay attention and learn a little bit. And you've got 3 candidates on the ballot. Look at every one of them. Look at Jeanine Lee Lake. Look at Greg Pence, and look at Tom Firkinoff. They're all applying for the job. It's an open seat. Nobody should have an automatic to it. So check that one out. We are still working on planning next week's episode 71. We're in talks with a guest or 2. We got some ideas. We're definitely going to do the episode that's coming up. Don't know if it's next week or if it's going to be a subsequent week. So we don't know what we're doing next week. We're going to have a great episode. I know that regardless, but the one we're working on is going to be very unique and very fun. It's kind of a high-profile guest, so we just work with us and be a little patient. We're going to have something for you next week, but I can't tell you what it is just yet. We will see you then, though.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at wearelibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to wearelibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at wearelibertarians.com.